Yeah, that's what I said.
We
Oh,
are live.
oh,
This
now
is
it's
Tommy
going.
P and Alex Sullivan. You're listening to Consent to the Governed.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, you know what's funny is it actually says that it won't record this. Like StreamYard won't record this unless you upgrade. And
Upgrade.
I'm like, get fucked.
He uses two D's at the end of his name for a double dose of his pimping.
Ooh,
See,
upgrade.
a pimp's love is much different than that of a square.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah, it is. It
But
is.
first, I had to gain the pimp's trust. All right, down to business here, man. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the elephant in the room here, and that would be that'd be Evergrande and the default on the 24th or the midnight of the 23rd.
Well,
Um,
and is there or is there not a secondary bond holder to Evergrande that is also going to um, basically go tits up at the
yeah,
same time?
this one is just the first default that actually has U.S. dollars tied to it.
Hmm.
Um, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, they've really done a hell of a job, uh, you know, destroying everything they can. I mean, it's so according to a plan that it's it's impossible at this point to be, oh, it's just a coincidence, oh, this is just kind of happening, it's because of this, because of that. No, this is all planned, this is all, you know
It would take I mean, so let's just say, right, just hypothetical, um, the current regime is so dumb that they let all this stuff just do this out of straight neglect, right?
dude,
Negligence.
that is an
Let's just say,
impossibility at this point, just because of the fact all of this is manufactured, because the receipts
I,
are there, you can see it. I
I
mean, they're
would
not
say
even
that I
trying to
would say the
hide at this
same.
point anymore.
I would
They're
say the
not
same.
even.
But you have somebody, like Jen Psaki coming out and going like, no, the shortages are because wages are at an all time high and people are just buying like crazy, um, and totally ignored the question about all of these ships that are out, off of the coasts,
Mhm.
coasts,
Coasts.
coasts now, right?
Coasts. Yeah, and, and
Yeah.
and look at who runs the states, where these coasts just so happen to be, you
Well,
know.
so I mean,
And
again,
once again,
that's why.
this is one thing I got to ask you about the shortages. Let's before we go into
Yeah.
the economic failure. Are you seeing it out there at all at the grocery
Um,
store?
so you and I talk about this. I'm in a really good spot, and the only reason why I'm in a really good spot is it's not like I selected this spot when I moved here,
Hmm.
but I had always wondered how geographically a place like this could exist for as long as it had, right?
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden it was like, well, duh, they figured it out, right? They just did, uh, you know, localization and then expanded from there, right? So this place has always been self sufficient. It has been, and it will be, later
Well,
on down the line.
and
It
this is one
grows
thing.
it grows its own food. It does all of its own stuff. It has its own. It's not like a Kroger
Well, do you notice any
scenario.
sort of empty shelving or empty shelves for specific products? Because that's what I'm
Dude,
noticing in
so
in the
so
grocery stores out here.
yeah.
It's just it's obviously coffee is a big deal, but it's random stuff like processed meats and like potato salad and shit like that. Like I went to the grocery
Hmm.
store today and I'm like, there ain't no fucking potato salad. Not that I was even going to go there to buy potato salad, but I was just looking to see what's missing. And I started noticing this, you know, uh, a while back. I drink my cranberry and vodkas, right? I don't like cranberry juice, 100% cranberry juice. And I go to the store and even multiple stores, and I couldn't find 100% cranberry juice. Find juice cocktail, could find this, could find that, but no brands of cranberry juice. And so I
Well,
started seeing that as starting as a trend, and now I'm just seeing odd shelves, odd items from the shelves just being completely bare. I'm thinking,
well,
why in the hell ain't there any fucking potato salad in the goddamn grocery store?
so
You
so
know,
that's the thing is that from what I've noticed is that you always see it in the
Pre-
pre-production style of food, right?
Mhm.
So when the big business can't get a hold of the quantity it needs,
Mhm.
right? Because they
They're not gonna buy
normally,
it.
well, they're getting the old stuff and they're getting it, So if you're getting potatoes for potato salad, you don't necessarily need the freshest of the fresh, right? That's going to go straight to the grocery store because it's
Mhm.
going to gain X amount per ounce, whatever the case may be, right? Bushel, whatever the unit. In the case of somebody that's going to make just some random, shit, potato salad, potato chips, potato anything like that, they're going to say on it it's russet potatoes. But dude, I not something I like to admit. I worked for Chiquita, canning green beans, and
Mhm.
we'd have actual trucks back up that just came off the picking lines, and it was really good. Like the stuff they were doing was really good. That's Chiquita. That's top of the brand. All that jazz. But it wasn't like the stuff I was seeing was something you'd even see in a store, right? It was
Mhm.
almost like this field was designated for X, and this field was designated for Y. You know what I mean? So you're going to see, I think, the shortages in processed foods
Rolling
first.
shortages, yeah. Rolling
Yeah, yeah,
shortages
exactly.
with
Yep.
processed foods. But one thing that, really kind of chaps my ass is, whatever grocery store or Walmart or whatever I go to,
Mhm.
there is no fucking shortage of Halloween shit. Cheap ass Halloween shit. Yeah, we got aisles full of that shit. It's like what the fuck?
Dude,
I
because
can't
it's because
get
candy
instant
corn is like
coffee,
the
but
candy
I
corn
can
is like
buy,
the fucking dude. Candy corn is the
I'm not
El
even talking about candy corn.
Chupacabra is the El Chupacabra of all fucking like
If we
candy for
have all
food.
these kind of shortages happening right now affecting all these different industries from paper plates to fucking potato salad,
Right.
why in the hell can I still buy a shit ton of cheap ass Halloween decorations? I can still buy all this.
Well, so that's interesting. Like the
So
idea.
it's obviously not a shipping issue because
Well,
they're able to get that in.
think about this. So is it a storage issue? Right. So obviously, if Walmart doesn't sell out of all of their Halloween stuff, do you think they just throw it away? No, they save it till next year, right?
That's
So
true. That's true.
they keep it close. They're not going to ship it down to
It
Arkansas.
goes it
Well,
goes back to McLean Industries.
yeah, it does. No, we're not going to get Arnold involved in this. Um, So no, the idea is that you just keep it close in a warehouse you have, kind of the idea of Amazon warehouses that spring up where you have like distribution centers,
Well,
you know.
here's something
Go
that I
ahead.
don't understand too is that Amazon is able to they're opening up a new facility next to where my mother-in-law is,
Mm,
and
mm,
I'm looking at these distribution centers like McLean out
mm.
here, and it's like they're hurting for workers. They I mean it's lately it's just been a constant of hiring. We're hiring. How can Amazon pop up a new warehouse and fill that with employees? And I just saw something online. Speaking of crazy stuff, all the jab shit and everything else. Um, there is no requirement for the hospital staff that they're hiring on.
Hospital staff
Like, so
for
they're
Amazon.
no. This is just in general for hospitals.
Oh,
For the
a hospital
doctors.
where? Which hospital?
It's I can't remember where it was actually, but I
Okay.
just read it on there that they're not required. And it's like, well, how does that make sense? How does that?
Well, I mean,
And
there's
this is the thing when you look at let's go back to the like this was a manufactured plan. When you look at everything that's happening and you start putting everything together, and and you have the proof, you have the receipts, you have the
Mhm.
evidence. Um, this going back to are they just that inept that this is happening? No,
Right.
no, not at all. There's this is manufactured. They are adhering to a plan, obviously derived by the CCP, and it's
Or a combination, a
it's a
plethora.
combination. I'd say a
Yeah.
combination, deep state, CCP, all that shit.
Right.
Corrupt low level politicians.
Let's
Um,
not pick one side.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, shit that video that Cliff posted on his website or his Twitter account the other day about the CCP guys talking about the plan and everything that they're going through, and it was all in Mandarin, and it was confirmed on his part. Had our mutual buddy take a look at it as well, and he speaks multiple languages, and that's a confirmation too. So he watched the video and he translated it and was like, no, that's exactly what he was saying.
Yeah.
And you can just like I said, at this point it's not coincidental. You'd have to really try to be that stupid to allow all this to happen when you have the power to not allow any of this to happen.
Well,
and they're not actually pushing any laws through. They're not coming up with regulatory plans and processes to actually make any of this happen. They're just saying it, having the media push it, and then just expecting people to follow along, which is definitely working for some. But what are the real numbers there? What are the real numbers of employers just saying, you're out of here,
dude?
Like, if it were the case where 50 to 70% of the employers were going, no, you're going to be fired, well, holy shit, we'd see a lot more than a few thousand people laid off here and a few thousand people laid off there. We would see millions. Well, but once again, look at the numbers. What, it was 4.3 million voluntarily left the workforce. Voluntarily.
Well, dude, you just went through this gigantic scope of looking at things at a very microscopic level, right? Pull back 30,000 foot view. Pull back to the 30,000 foot view. You're citing all of these little examples, right? And you're going, there's no fucking way that all of this stuff, all these little things that are involved and all of these things I'm going to talk about are on purpose, or sorry, not on purpose. These things are planned, right? I'm going to go ahead and disagree, right? And I'm going to disagree in a weird way. So you're going to see all of a sudden random unions go, I ain't supporting you. And you're seeing that. You're going to see Intel come out and say, not only am I not supporting this, but I'm going to post a blog, like CEO of Intel. I'm going to post a blog about how people aren't, when they say they're being inclusive to all people, they're excluding Christians. Like that's Intel. It's the biggest chip manufacturer. And he's, again, one of the, in one of the arenas that are probably the most scarce right now. And chipsets, right? For cars, for anything. Like that guy is now sitting there going, I could fucking walk on water. Jesus right now. I don't care. And you're seeing that power play. And I think that a lot of people are going to start seeing the actual weight be able to be pushed around. So if you look at the mandate where it was, oh no, it's got to be October 15th, oh October 18th, oh November 1st, oh
now it's
November 15th.
December 15th or whenever it is.
Dude, fucking paper tiger. Fucking tiger. And I was really worried about it, in my own little homeostasis that I have right over here, my homestead, that something was going to come up and I was going to have to devote a lot of time. And I've already devoted a shit ton of time to other people to make sure that they don't have to adhere to anything. And it's worked out well. I mean, but I'm looking at this going like, holy shit. Not only is this planned, A, it's planned poorly. B,
and it's rushed. It's very rushed.
Well, we've said it's rushed, but
but that's something that we've, I want to bring up too, though. It's like, that would be funny to find out. It was an Ice Cube, by the way. That'd be funny to find out why it's rushed. That's a question I've had. Like, why did they feel like they had to rush it? Because the problem is when you force this plan through so quick down everybody's throats, it's hard for even the people that you may be able to convince over a period of time, that this is the way it should be. Now, those people are even going like, oh, whoa, step back. This is no. I'm not going to accept this. I can't. It's too quick. And that's why I think maybe that's why everything's turning so sloppy. That's why everything's looking so where it could possibly be coincidental, but it's like, nah, no, they're pushing it and they're pushing it down our throats as fast as they can. And
Well,
people aren't accepting it.
so if you had to deal with 4 years of logistics, right? And not just in one society, but multiple societies globally, right? You dealt in this gigantic plan that was going to overtake and overthrow all freedom throughout the world, right? That's what you're going to do. You're just going to fuck it all up. You're going to take everything that you had and just destroy it,
Give me
right?
1 second. Let me just check on the dog upstairs.
Oh shit. Okay. So you're not even going to be able to hear me, guy. Anyway, so if you take an entire globe, all of its logistics, mostly run by Japanese um, right on time delivery systems. Let's just say you're going to take medical systems. You're going to infiltrate military. You're going to infiltrate finance. You're going to take all of these systems and you're going to get into those systems so deep that you're going to figure out a way to take those out. And then you're going to pay off all of the people that are necessary to take those things out. So you had this plan going for decades, right? Mm. And then all of a sudden, some maybe one of the world's biggest dick bags steps in and erases 4 years, right? He just not only does he take 4 years away from your plan, but he just shines a light on everything you did for the last, you know, 40 years. No wonder why they're rushing, right? So you could
Well,
say that like,
that's
holy cow,
okay.
holy cow, look at that thing.
That's Vino Barbarelli.
Well, does he sing in a falsetto?
No, he's at Vino Barbarelli.
What is he going to take over for fucking Frankie Valli?
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, good.
Well, that was the thing I was talking to my dad about last night. Was the
Tell him to settle the fuck down, bruh.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm always a little weary.
Oh,
Anyways,
that's all right. He's
I was
fine.
talking to my daddy last night about. I've been talking to him for a while about this, and hey, Prescott, Arizona. Howdy. Anyways, we were discussing about.
I used to have a cabin a little north of that.
That's where my dad lived out in Prescott. Anyways,
Oh, cool.
We were talking about how the previous administration, chill. How the previous administration cut all the basically cut off all the lifelines for, I mean, all of their funding. Like Cliff talks about a lot. This isn't cheap. It's not cheap to keep this corrupt system going. You have to pay a lot of people off all the time. The previous administration, they completely killed all their money. It was like, no, taking that away. You could see it whenever he met with world leaders and different, people of importance throughout, wherever he went. And by just defunding them that much, you can see how much he put the hurt to him. And that's why they're frantically trying to pass these different bills for these spending budgets, and they're not getting support and they're not getting the money they need right now. I mean, just think about that, man. I mean, think about how much money it takes to make this corrupt world go round and how many people you have to pay off, because that's really what it comes down to. It comes down to, maybe some of it's blackmail and whatnot, but most of these low level politicians, man, and people of importance, they have a price tag. They have a fucking price tag. Now, somebody came up to me and, if I was a person of importance, which I'm not, nobody cares. And they said, if you do this, I'll pay you this much. I'll be like, nah, I'm not going to screw over a bunch of people for that money, because, yeah, it'd be great to have that money, but, we're, contrary to prior belief, we are fairly moral people that wouldn't screw over our fellow man or a group of our fellow men for money.
So this is provable, right? I just talked about Jen Psaki, where she was like, "Oh no, we're not actually having shortages because of logistics, and don't worry about those, those 100 ships sitting off the coast over there. Don't
Hold on
worry
a
about
second.
that."
Keep talking.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what was actually said was, um, according to what Tom was just saying. Anyway, the idea of taking in all of this money from really fucked up sources. Another thing that that Jen Psaki was talking about or trying to answer a question, about was all of these flights. And it was supposed to be somebody asked, and I can't remember his name, but what's going on with these midnight flights, these flights in the middle of the night transporting all of these kids to random areas, including New York
Yeah,
and
why New
everything else.
York?
Well, no. Let's not worry about New York. it- well, if you want to worry about New York, I do believe there's a little place. It's not. It might be named Westchester, New York. I think is what it's called. Just go take a look at that. Anyway, so all of these flights that are going in, bringing all of these kids in, right? So this person in the press pool asks, "Why are all these flights happening at night, bringing all of these kids up from the border into New York, and why are these flights happening in the middle of the night?" And she goes, "Well, they're not happening in the middle of the night."
They're
And it's
happening at
like,
11:30 p.m.
well, no, they started, so they just started to discuss the semantics of it, and it's like, well, no, I asked you, a, why are all of these kids coming up from the border undocumented? B, why are they being put on flights? C, why are they not vaccinated and adhering to the normal COVID laws? And D, what the fuck is going on with these kids regarding like where are they going? Why are they going in the middle of the night? And
Mhm.
the only thing you say is, well, it's not in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you just
define the middle of the night, okay? You know?
so
They
that's
are
what they
leaving
went
between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. That is not the
oh
middle of the night.
yeah, we got a chat. Was born in Westfield, New York, near Buffalo. So you'll notice that in the Southern District of New York, there's a nice little place down there that all of these kids are going to, and there's another place that's not too far north where there's a coincidence that both the Biden administration and the Clintons, they both own a nice little joint, a lot of land up in the Finger Lakes, and you'll find out. I mean, just go look at the back tattoo of Hunter Biden, and you'll
Mhm.
figure out where all that stuff
Yeah,
is
yeah.
and why they're bringing all those kids up there. I mean, I don't really want to speculate too much about it. I think a lot of stuff is going to come out, and it's one of the reasons why we're doing the podcast tonight, not just as a test, but to discuss what may or may not go on next week. Right? We've seen a complete breakdown of news. Media in general is having to backtrack at every turn.
Mhm.
Everything is wrong. The majority of people that are dying from anything in this rigmarole that they've created is the people that have been infected um, on purpose
Mhm.
uh, through syringe. Uh,
Well, and this is the thing too. I was doing actually. I constantly
I,
look
I
for.
was
Oh,
I
I was
was
going to
gonna
say
I was
Boulder.
gonna but it was you.
Well,
Go on, go
I've
on.
been looking at the obituaries and whatnot, and I keep an eye on that.
Ooh,
And a
ooh.
lot of the ones that are, like if you just go out there and just Google, deaths in your area or obituaries in your area, I see a lot of really odd information, like being available, the first 10, if you just Google it, just use regular Google and Chrome and everything else, like the first page or two of the websites that come up, either the numbers stop after March and May, I've noticed, which is really weird. And then also, I mean, you got to dig to actually find out how many people have died in your area. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to dig for that in Google. You
Right.
know, I mean, you should not have to dig for that in Google. That should be just publicly available knowledge. You should be able to go out there and find it, and see.
Well,
And but
you've seen how hard they have to work.
Mhm.
Like they're having to work super hard at this.
To suppress this. They really are.
Super hard.
I just don't know why they.
Oh,
I
really? You don't?
well, no, I don't know how they thought they would make this work. I don't know how they thought they would be able to, keep people, tied to their web browsers, their search engines, their social media, their YouTube, everything else. No, people are paying attention to other platforms because they want to be able to hear not even the truth. Just it doesn't even have to be the truth, I should say. They just want to be able to hear anything. They don't want to see any kind of censorship, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And the problem is that I don't know how they expected everybody to stay on board with their platforms when there were
Right.
other platforms available.
Dude.
That's just so ridiculous. Like that is one arrogant move, man. That is one arrogant move, and really thinking that the people are that stupid. I mean, there are a lot of dumb fuckers out there. That's why we're in this situation to begin with. But the problem is you still, I mean, maybe 50 to 70% are really that stupid, but the rest of them aren't.
Dude, good luck trying to find the numbers, right?
Yeah, good luck trying to find the numbers. I mean, you can.
I'm not smart enough to
you can see the
handle
traffic. See, that's the one thing too that's scaring the shit out of them too. Is they're looking at the unique IPs that are visiting these sites, that are leaving these sites, and they're going like shit. We're losing control. They're not paying attention to our platforms anymore. They're going elsewhere to actually just talk to each other.
Well,
and even on the mainstream media, man, they can't keep it quiet. Whether or not
that's the idea
that's
decentralization,
planned.
right? So that's the idea of decentralization. If you have this thing where you're the bottleneck, right? You're the one that owns everything. You're the one that let's just say this port idea, Long Beach port.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only port on that coast, and you're owned by a certain person, let's say, or group of people or country, right? And all of a sudden you stop doing your job on purpose. Other people step in. So now you have other states that are like, hey, just, go through the Panama Canal, we'll handle that business, right? That's not feasible, right? For starters, they've been moored there for a little while. I mean, they're not really going to do that. They're just going to wait, right? So
that just let me just touch on that. Maybe that just turns my conspiracy ideas on. Maybe the reason why the Evergrande, remember that when it blocked the Panama Canal, that Evergrande deal. Maybe
Evergreen.
I'm sorry, not Evergreen. Yeah, Evergreen.
Yeah,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Maybe that was just in preparation to get us ready for the possibility of it happening again. And then when they try to actually ship things down, like, oh well, it's blocked because we had another Evergreen incident and blah blah.
Dude,
blah.
that was like one or two different ships, and yeah, you might be right where it's like, hey, watch out in the future. Well, but I'm not looking at like. So we already discussed like the idea of how mathematically impossible it is for something to be a coincidence, right? We can say that in all of these things, if you'd like to delve into everything about 17, you'd be able to figure out like, holy shit, that's mathematically impossible to figure that out. If you want to delve into all of the stuff that Trump has said, you can actually look and go, holy shit, that guy is right more often than he's wrong, and keep going over all of these things, right? But nobody's discussing what is the core spine, the crux of what we're dealing with right now. I mean, I gotta say, Cliff is actually talking about it a lot. A lot of other people are starting to talk about it regarding, this idea of coming out of Pisces school of fish and going into Aquarius, which is the knowledge bringer, right? Where you're no longer schooling around with each other. You're going to have to find your own way. And I think a lot of us are trying to find our own way, and that makes a lot of sense, but we're still on this weird cusp of shit. And we've talked about that a lot. And we could sit there and say, like, oh, well, holy fuck. Oh, I see a similarity here and there. Or we could say, oh, that's just hogwash. In my opinion, you're going to have to figure out where your spine lies, and you're going to have to do all the things that you need to do in your own life and figure out your own. If you haven't already figured out your own sources, or how to verify your own sources, or how to unverify the sources that you already had, and then maybe go back to them later, and how to be versatile and just go from whatever resonates with you and create this thing that revolves around you and your family. If you can't figure out how to work within this life on your own, you're going to be fucked in the next 4 to 5 years. Like you're
Well,
just
also
completely gone.
how to verify and even accept the fact that you could have been wrong, about
Oh,
certain, certain
that's what I was saying. Like they could
issues
be
in
right
here. It's like
now and they could be wrong tomorrow, but you can't discredit them just because they're wrong. They're just wrong right now.
they're just people are throwing out information as soon as they can find it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's horseshit. A lot of times it's horseshit.
Yeah.
But some of this stuff is like, well, why would you try to push this agenda and try to trick people into that if it wasn't true? Like it's
Well,
on the conspiracy side of things, because on the conspiracy side of things, which is no longer conspiracy anymore, we are
true.
all the majority of us that are living in this realm are all looking for the truth. So anybody out there that's spreading this misinformation on the conspiracy side of things, they can go fuck themselves. I think the majority of
Mm,
people that are living in the conspiracy world, are verifying to their best extent before they actually release a lot of this information. Some of the people are just, oh, we'll
Or,
retweet this because I found this, and
or,
retweet that because I found that.
or,
Or you know, it's
no,
moles. It's
no,
moles. It's
or all they're doing is
moles and
trying
trolls,
to.
baby. Moles and
Well,
trolls.
so you got black, white, and gray hat, right? So a gray hat can sit there and go, well, this benefits me. And in my opinion, you have these people that are just selling fucking silver and frozen goods and dried MREs, all that shit, right? So there's a lot of people that are out there doing like, oh my god, MREs and all sorts of stuff. Hey, Rice, you want to come on?
Yo,
Yo, you want to get in, yo?
Madrid.
You want to get in?
ringing that bell. I can't concentrate.
You want to get in, yo, Rice? We were talking about it. Come on in. Oh, come on, guy. So, oh, he says send him a link. Yeah, let me. Actually, I'm gonna post the link. I'm gonna just post it in here.
Yeah,
I
let
could
people
just,
because I got to keep running up and
yeah,
down the stairs with that new puppy.
dude,
I'm a helicopter
dude,
helicopter
you're not.
puppy parent.
You're just.
Dude, it's so bad. It's a fault of mine. Well, like, where is he? What's he doing? Better not be getting into
Posting
shit.
it.
It's
No.
a fucking puppy, of course. Just don't him like
So
chewing on an outlet or something like that.
hold on. Let me. He told me to send it to him on Telegram.
I
Oh
can
my
see this.
god.
I'm looking at the comments right now, Sully.
Oh, are you?
Come on.
Well, I didn't know if you were even watching.
I
I don't even
can't
know what.
see anything. I'm blind.
I don't even know what he wants me to. No, I'll just put it right there.
No, man. But yeah,
What?
back to the manufactured economical, the economic destruction of the economy
Yeah.
as we know it. Um,
Right.
Once again, I've been talking with my daddy about this for way too long, and this is something that we've been talking about. Wouldn't this be a great idea to destroy the central banks?
Well,
Hold on 1 second.
what do you mean? What do you mean? Wouldn't this be a great idea? You're gonna just drop that bomb on me and then walk out of the room? What a jack off. So obviously everything that's been fucking, planned for decades. Yes, this is the time. Now's the damn time to hammer out the central bank. You're looking at,
This
you
damn
know,
dog, I tell you, he's just up there being a little punk. No, this,
put him
remember
in
how
the cage.
I can't put him in it. Then he's just going to be whining the whole time. I tried to kennel him, while we sleep
Hey,
for like 2 minutes.
hey, do me a favor and tell me what you were thinking about with the Federal Reserve, because I'm about to add Rice as
Okay.
soon as you're done.
Okay. One thing I was going to say is,
Hold on, Rice.
that was one of the deals that the previous administration was our theory. The previous administration was trying to do. You look at the 17 and everything else; they were trying to destroy the Feds and the central banks. Wouldn't this be, if you knew their plan ahead of time and what they were going to do? Wouldn't you want to allow this to happen so they did destroy the central banks, destroy the Feds,
Obviously, I mean,
crash the economy?
So I'm going to add Rice in, but look at how much various different authorities that they are destroying right now. So let's just say that's white hats versus black hats with gray hats in between. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so many authorities are being absolutely dismantled right now, and it's fucking at a crazy pitch. Here we go, Rice. Oh,
yeah. What? Let him back in. What'd you do?
Yeah, what'd you do?
What'd you do,
I'm
son?
sorry. I'm sorry. A little weird menu showed up and everything else. Hey, welcome, buddy.
What's going on?
Same old, same old. We were talking about all sorts of shit.
Yeah, I heard that apparently Tom is blind.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you lost your eyesight, Tom.
I can't see.
It must be hard to take care of that dog all blind and stuff.
Oh man, dude. He's not bad. He's getting better, but Jesus, dude. Puppies. Not having another dog to help with this it's been crazy.
I hear you, man. Yeah, I've had a crazy busy day. I did 2 interviews, one with Lynette Zhang and the other with Cal Washington. And I've got intros recorded. I've got to upload them to Patreon and then edit 2 videos tonight. Fun times.
So, real quick question for you, Rice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to Tom about this because you've brought this up to me probably 6 times within the last month and a half.
Only 6?
About 6 times, roughly.
You sure it wasn't 7 or maybe 5?
Well, I'm just gonna say 6, but let's go on. So you have a couple of people that you work with and talk to that say they have insiders that discuss this idea of and they're very crypto oriented, but they're saying that there could be a possible let's say deflationary event that is coming.
Yep.
And I have talked to you I don't know how many times about a deflationary event and that there's only so many tools in the toolbox that you can use for deflation.
Well, yeah, well, it's to fight inflation, you would use deflation, and to fight deflation,
right,
you would use inflation. So it's really actually that simple.
It is, right? So, but there's only so many tools in the toolbox, right?
I got a good answer for you.
Okay, I want to hear it. I want to hear it because we've been talking about it for a while. And
yeah.
So let's set this up real quick. So I've been told that we're going to see more deflationary events.
Is that a weed or shrooms?
No, okay, that's my free weed I got.
Oh, that's that plan.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Dude, isn't that nuts, man? Sorry, I just had to show it to you. It's like, dude,
No,
I got
I
got 8 jars of that for nothing.
Yeah, I'll send you my address.
Yeah.
You're welcome to donate.
Yeah, I'll donate it.
So I asked this of Lynette. You want me to go ahead and give me my...
Oh yeah, because you just had Lynette Zhang on. Yeah. Get it going.
Because, I mean, like, I don't consider myself an expert in economics, but I mean, I've learned a pretty decent amount. And
You hang out with successful folks in the industry,
and it really seems like that we're headed for, based off of everything that we've seen over the past, over 2020, you know, or accumulating since 2008, that we are headed for high inflation, hyperinflation. And Ben Armstrong from BitBoy Crypto is one of the people you're talking about.
I wasn't going to say it. You could say
well, he came on my show and we talked about it, so people could check that interview out. It's like called Bull Run something, and then I don't know, but it's the latest interview I did with BitBoy, and he's kind of giving me his explanation on it because I wanted to get his understanding. We didn't have enough time to get into like a big debate about it, but he said something about getting back together in November and continuing the conversation. And in the meantime, I was just going to be talking with people like Lynette, and I'm going to be going to Miami, talking to I'm going out for two events.
So what's the gist? Like, what's the
okay? Well, what Lynette? What I'm asking Lynette Zhang, right? Okay, so let's say in theory that they want to strengthen the U.S. dollar and they want to pull dollars out of circulation, limit the amount of dollars, with the idea that the rest of the world is going to do this because the dollar is the world reserve currency.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained all that even to Ben BitBoy. And so Lynette has me pull up a Fred chart for purchasing power of the dollar since 1913. That's when the
right.
chart goes back to, which is the creation of the Federal Reserve.
Right.
And within the first like 7 years, we've seen a 50% loss of purchasing power.
Right.
And then if you start looking at the Fred purchasing power graph, it from 1913 to today, once we start getting like into like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, it looks like it starts to flatten out.
Right.
But you have to take and go and use their tools and bring in the dates to closer date proximities. So we were going to like 2000, then I went to like 2008, and because we were talking about the creation of Bitcoin for a moment, and ultimately, long story short, going to the Fred chart of the purchasing power of the dollar, it has been, it right now has 3.5 cents, I think it's, or 3.5% left from 1913's purchasing power.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been on a complete downtrend of, even when they were trying to do deflationary events like in the 70s,
mm-hmm.
we were still in a, what I call the hidden tax, this high form of inflation that's going on. So I don't think that they're going to be able to successfully fucking do this, like take dollars out of circulation. I explained to Lynette, which I'll explain again to BitBoy, is that I don't care if the dollar is the world reserve currency or not, because we already see prior to Trump's presidency that there was a de-dollarization going on between like your BRICS nations, banks, they wanted to get rid of the dollar's world reserve status. So that doesn't matter. That doesn't come into play.
Right. You're going very micro on this. I want to do one thing and just inject a little macro into it, right? So you and I, as people,
but everybody's following. Everybody follows the Federal Reserve.
Hold on, well, but let's just talk about this one thing, and this is what I talked to you about before. You only have so many tools in the toolbox. Tom, you, me, we're all involved in crypto, right? Which means that if I bet on Bitcoin, it's all about the relationship between Bitcoin and the dollar. So there are so many things that have to happen in between and understand the idea between Bitcoin and the dollar, right? So Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Well, look at Bitcoin. Two things to interject.
Hold on. So what's the best deflationary tool?
Inflation.
People dying.
Yeah.
That's the best deflationary tool, is people dying. So all of a sudden, if you were to sit there and say that, there's no way we can get out of this.
All right. Well,
what happens? What happens if there's no demand anymore? Because
I get what you're saying.
Rule number one of economics is supply and demand.
Well, how do you think the rest How do you think the rest of the living people would be when you have that many people potentially no longer in existence? And then two,
If
the
you
other
were
thing,
controlling it, who gives a
the
fuck?
other thing that you got to take in consideration without even the mention of what you just brought up is them implementing CBDCs and GovCoins, which is going to be a game changer for them in this element
Control.
because they can control the inflation and deflation a lot easier when it's a complete
So
digital
you just-
system that they have
you just
control of.
answered your own question. Deflate the currency while hyperinflation exists, right? So print out as much money as you can, soak up all the resources as you can as far as into corporate entities, and then all of a sudden drop the bottom out while people are dying from weird shit. It doesn't
Well,
matter
I
if it's a
just want to
pandemic
interject here.
or
Talk
all
about-
sorts of other things.
Talk about dollars
Interject,
in circulation.
interject, blind Tom.
I can't see, but I
You're-
want to interject.
You're blind, so you get some sort of like precedence here.
I'm a man.
Come on in, bro.
I want to say, we went from like $3.5 trillion in circulation into 40. How are we gonna fix that? We can't. Like, obviously, that had to happen for the devolution to happen. Like, we had to overprint. We had to blow this out of the water. I mean, how does that make sense to anybody? If you look at the numbers, 3.5 trillion in circulation to $40 trillion.
Right, but now so with the deflationary thing though, you got to also look. If you're looking at this from all different perspectives, what was the deal with like the reverse repos that's going on, and then in combination with banks apparently wanting to hoard cash, like killing lines of credit, not offering more ways for the public to obtain money. It's as if the banks know kind of what's going on and are trying to capture this cash. But again, I don't think they're going to be able to strengthen the dollar and reverse all the damage they've done since 1913.
No, I think that there is going to be a time in this devolutionary period where cash is going to be king for a little bit, because I'm not saying that they printed $40 trillion. It's a lot easier just to digitally create $40 trillion and make
just put digits in the system, because it really wasn't. We really didn't. We physically didn't print up that much money.
That's the reason that you have the banks holding on to cash, because they know it's like, holy shit, for a small period of time.
So that's why I think that's one of the reasons why I think people are thinking that we could be going into like a deflationary event where they're going to try to take dollars out of circulation. Now, ultimately, really what this kind of comes down to is it doesn't matter if we go into hyperinflation or a deflationary period, because either way, the stock market's going to fucking crash.
And what?
No.
If you don't have access to your bank accounts, it doesn't matter anymore. And I think that's what's going to happen. Is they're going to keep the cash. They're going to utilize the cash for top dollar clients to help just keep them afloat for a little bit and keep them looking legit. But I mean, how long is it going to be before it's like, well, network went down, we had issues, can't access your bank account.
Hey, when's the first time, I'm going to predict it now, when's the first time you think you'll hear on most news where it's called something similar to a backwards investment? It's going to be spun as a backwards investment.
Well, it's like the reverse mortgage.
Exactly.
Give me the reverse.
It's investments like investing in treasury bonds though too, because you're investing on
we were talking about T-bills earlier.
Because you're speculating that the government's going to do well and you're going to get a return on your investment.
Dude, we were talking about that. We were talking about the idea of Evergrande earlier, and
no, I'm not done. I'm not done asking like the experts about this stuff. So what I was saying about Miami.
There are no experts. This is first. Okay. This is the first time we've ever seen it.
We are in unknown territory. Listen, bullshit. We are in unknown territory, but there are some intelligent people that can provide information to give people options and ideas of what could potentially occur. So when I go out to Miami, one of the events is Mark Moss's event, Disruptor Live or something like that. And he's going to have George Gammon out there, who I've interviewed, and then Gerald Celente plus some other people. So I'm going to get with Gerald Celente and George Gammon and all these individuals who even Lynette Zhang looks up to. and get their thoughts and opinions, because the more people that I can get opinions for about this. And the way I presented it to Lynette was like, look, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting confused, because there's all this talk of inflation, then there's all this talk of deflation, then there's all this talk of disinflation, and then there's all this talk of stagflation. I know the difference between the four, but it's just like, because we're in such unknown territory and everybody's speculating, nobody really knows what the hell's going on. So people are guesstimating, but there are some intelligent guesstimations that are being done. And I think it's important to pay attention to those kind of people. And that's why I'm trying to have these conversations with these individuals, because it's very basic shit that people need to have a good explanation of, so we know how to deal with it.
It's something that Max Egan said on his last video, like, because he, you saw that he got the hell out of Dodge.
What do you mean got the hell out of Dodge? He lives in the country in Australia, which he's done like for the past almost 10 years.
He left.
Left where?
Yeah, he's actually hanging out with he's actually hanging out with what's his nuts? Berwick. He's living at Berwick's house for the next week.
Yeah, till Friday, and then he's out of there from there.
Well, then I'm just okay. I mean, then I have to get in touch with Egan and find out, one, how the fuck he got out of the police state of Australia.
He watched his last video. He went
through. He told you how to get out of there.
Yep.
And it wasn't necessarily difficult, but it wasn't pleasant.
Mexico doesn't require a vaccination, but I think they require a PCR test.
To leave Australia only required a PCR test. He had to go to Singapore, which only required a PCR test.
But to enter,
he got into the States, which only required a PCR test, and then got into Mexico.
Yeah, see, I mean, it's hard for me to keep up with everybody, and I love Max. So I mean, if Max got out of Australia, then more power to him. And actually, what I will say in regards to that is, because Berwick's from Canada, and
but Berwick is a place in Mexico. I can't.
Yeah, but Berwick is also, he just put out his Dollar Vigilante newsletter came out talking about exit strategies in Canada. Talking about how if you want to get on a boat that has so many different members on the boat, you're going to have a vaccine. But a small boat, you don't have to. But if you were to try to take that down to the United States, the United States, are you going to be able to refuel in the United States without actually having a vaccine, being technically like an illegal alien who's escaping fucking Canada, like you're a Cuban or something?
Well, that's the thing.
Berwick is figuring out and talking to people about solutions to get out of Dodge. Mm-hmm. Or get out of Chinadia, not Dodge, because Dodge actually is kind of cool.
Dude,
but
so that's one of the reasons why actually Egan went there, was because
well, dude, he's got a fucking target on his head. And imagine being in Australia with a target on your head, knowing what happened to Lorian Rohan from Justinian Deception, being still locked up for now. It seems like over a year with no charges. With no charges.
No charges. And we're sitting here.
And Max is a bigger threat than Justinian Deception.
Well,
we're sitting there having this conversation, right?
Because they went after his conversation.
No,
I fucking love Max Egan, man.
Well, yeah, but let's not worry about the other countries. Think about this. We're sitting here having this conversation. It's being broadcasted. This is going straight to Google Enterprises, right? This is going to the
shout out to the Googles and all my handlers of the ABC agencies that monitor and listen to me. I love you guys.
Yeah. So here's the deal, is that maybe America is last, or maybe this whole thing turns around, but we're all looking in some way, shape, or form at some sort of adversity, right? You have people now, and it's a real thing. Like in our circle, you're seeing people having to ditch their own country and deal with their plan B right now. So what's your guys' plan B? Anybody listen to this? What's your plan B? What are you doing?
I've talked to you a little bit about where I'm at. That's why I've been clearing up some of my debts, so I can be working on situations for that.
dude. And this is the thing: is that if you,
And hell, man, a bunch of us may have to buy a privately charter. We may have to just buy a plane, a little small plane, like all of us going together and just.
dude,
Who
I'm
knows?
telling you this.
But where
telling you
there's a will, there's a way. And if I need to
No,
get out
when
of
they,
this country, I will.
America will not fall.
If I need to, I will. No, I believe America will be like the last bastion of freedom, and maybe
But
some
it's
other
starting to
countries.
get there. It's starting to get there.
It's starting to, right? And now the one thing that we have, because I mean, a lot of what's been going on in Australia, and shout out because
The information war is hitting
listen,
our
there
shores.
was a big. I'm not sure if it was this past weekend or when it was, but there was a big demonstration, very peaceful demonstration. I think in New York City, supporting Australia. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's going on in Australia is now starting to happen in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of talks that the United States, UK, France will start to be shining lights of bastions of freedom for those countries. Because the one thing that we, especially us, in compared to all the nations that I mentioned, we have, regardless, we still are in the freest nation, as far as I know.
It's only because of our guns.
And that's exactly what I'm getting to. Is that's the one thing that's going to be protecting us, period, is the fact that we have the ability to form militias. We have firearms where Australia and Canada don't.
Well, they do.
And I'm not saying they don't have access to it. I'm not saying they don't have access to it.
To a small point,
but you see the point now, and it goes back in history. Any government that is going to disarm its citizens in any capacity, no matter what the reasoning is ultimately taking more power and is gaining more power and taking away less freedoms from the individuals, where the choices are becoming more and more and more limited.
But let me just put this out there, and this falls in line with like this falls in line with like Cliff High stuff, and what he's talking about, but also like, you know, what I talk to my folks about all the time too. There is a very good chance it's going to be a Red Dawn sort of a situation where they are going to try to put boots on the ground over here because they don't want to destroy the natural resources.
I think
blow up a nuke plant.
I would just say it really well. Just a good thing. Homie, don't play that.
No, but this is what I'm saying though. Like they with as much farmland as, you know, the Gates Foundation, obviously, and the CCP, and what's, you know, that they have bought up over the last few years is ridiculous. They need these resources. They cannot afford to destroy these natural resources. They can kill off the people, but that's their best bet. What are they going to do? Bring over a bunch of drones and just start drone striking people? Well, now you're destroying the natural resources over here. What they want to do, and dude, I'm still on the fence about this, but it could very well be the Red Dawn kind of a situation. And
I don't think we're going to quite get to Red Dawn. I mean, it could be like very much in early stages, but I don't think we're going to get to that point.
It may happen in certain areas. I think it may happen.
You're exactly right, Tom.
Well,
hold on, Rice. Hold on. There are a couple of different spots within this country that you can look at. I mean,
or the entirety of the Canadian border.
Hold on. Just go over the idea of this idea of ports being owned by China, right? Out in LA, and all of a sudden now we're getting into these shortages, right? So
it's not just LA though, because I mean they have
what I'm saying is
the oil spill, but then you have South Carolina, which doesn't have a fucking oil spill, and the same thing's happening in California or South Carolina.
All I'm saying is this: is that if you can control a couple of small spots, right, then all of a sudden you have a foothold in that area. And when you get a foothold in that area, then you can just go ahead and do a couple of different things. And I don't want to get into a whole lot of conspiratorial shit, but
you gotta be careful if you want to keep your channel, man.
Well, okay, so here's the deal. Imagine this. Imagine that there's a group of white hats that don't want all of those ships to come ashore because they're full of arms.
I've heard mixed stories. Yeah, I've heard mixed stories.
Right.
But ultimately, I mean, it's as if both sides of the coin are using that to their advantage. Which, again, you know, ultimately what happens is it weaponizes shit and it right. War. But who the fuck suffers from it? The everyday normal person.
The people. Right. So
what do
you do?
I was even thinking about this earlier. if we're having this much of a problem of, let's say we have a lack of employees at these docks to unload these ships. If we can send people over to Texas because they need relief from a hurricane, or New Orleans or New York or whatever the situation might be, why can't we send military over and get this shit taken care of?
It's the same thing I told you before.
If it's a lack of employees, if it's because people are lazy, and all right, I know, but that's what they're trying to give the excuse of. Not every single one of those ports is owned by or as a conglomerate associated with China. Not every single one. But it seems to be a normal thing right now. Like, again, California makes sense because they can use the excuse of this oil bullshit. But South Carolina doesn't have an oil spill. And I've seen people in the ocean making videos showing all these, I don't know if you call them container ships, what the hell you call them, but they're just lined up waiting to like dock and unload.
Well, even worse.
And every day it costs money.
You see these videos of all of these containers not getting taken out of the actual like premises.
And the thing is like on the West Coast, it's all automated. These are all automated shipping yards. There's no truck drivers driving these things around once they get unloaded off the deal. No, it's all automated, and then they bring it to the truckers.
The other thing too,
we have yet to see a trucker strike. We haven't seen that yet.
I was correlating this last night, and I know I'd connected before, but I was pulling some information, looking for some articles, and I saw some stuff talking about the what's going on with not unloading these tanker ships and a lack of certain supplies, shortages, and how this could result in more of a food shortage. And I lost my fucking train of thought.
It's all right. You'll find
I was correlating this to something. I just had such a fucking long day. What were you saying, Tom?
Oh, I was just talking about the automated shipping ports and the fact that we haven't seen a truckers union strike just yet. And how, like, I'm not about to blame the logistics on the truckers because they're still up and moving. You know, when we do see that trucker strike, well, obviously I expect there to be shortages in certain areas.
There really was a good point to what I was trying to say, but it's just even trying to retract that thought. It may come back. It may.
Maybe you need to smoke a big old fat spliff.
That's one of the things. I haven't smoked that much today. I haven't really eaten much today either, so just eating a little bit. Yeah, no, I definitely need to get some fuel in my body. Overall though, the situation is just it's ridiculous when you think about it. And if we're going to end up having these shortages when we have all of this potential food and stuff sitting on these ships that are not being unloaded, is ridiculous. It's definitely ridiculous. So, I mean, even that alone should make people question what the hell is going on. Why are we having shortages of stuff, and yet there's a bunch of ships trying to deliver products, but we can't get the products off those ships? It just does not make any sense to me. It really doesn't. And I really am getting tired of both sides weaponizing everything when all it does is cause harm to everybody else who's not.
This is the problem. There's too much misinformation on both sides. I mean, I definitely like the side that I'm on, and I agree with the side that I'm on because I've spent too much time looking at it. I mean, 22 years, it's not much, but when you look at how much things have changed over 22 years, you start to go like, damn, this is the truth. But anyways, no, why are we seeing shortages for random products, for weird products? I understand the coffee stuff because they have an excuse for that, or I understand this because there's an excuse for that. But, it's like we shouldn't be having any shortages from what's coming over in Mexico. We shouldn't be having any shortages with anything that's produced in the United States because we still have trucking. I understand when you have shortages over in Australia because the truckers union decided to go fuck you. That's a different story. We're not there yet. So
We're not going to be there though. That won't happen. And I would say that like even something like Southwest Airlines should give you like an inclination.
No, it's
It's not
totally, but it may for a very short time, like the Southwest airline fiasco, where it's like fuck around and find out, and people are like, look, we can't do that. We're gonna screw ourselves. So, yeah,
and you got lots of people quitting their jobs right now.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
record highs, 4.3 million this year.
It's insane. I mean, and then like something we've never even really talked about, which kind of coincides, semi-connected, is that whole Great Resignation thing. You know, which kind of applies to people quitting their jobs for various reasons, some of which are freedom oriented. You know, like I don't want to do what you're forcing me to do, and some are like, hey, like I can make it on my own. I can be my own. I don't need you.
There have been a lot of people like that. Everybody wants to blame it on the unemployment.
Now,
I think a lot of people finally saw life for what it was and said, you know what? I would rather do something else.
If you look at that and you start looking at some of the older documentation from like 5-6 years ago from the Great Reset and some of their predictions for 2030, that's in line. Like they want people to like basically a gig economy where everybody can be their own boss and not work for another person or corporation and such. That's one of the things that they're like the Great Reset agenda is pushing towards. That's one of their predictions and one of the things that I got 2 different articles that will share like that exact. So it's almost as if like we're playing into the fucking plan.
Well, so
we're being corralled like fucking like cows for the slaughter and just being led into having our heads chopped off. It's absolutely insane, man. And then you have all this censorship and stuff going on where we have to watch what we're saying.
Yeah, where I couldn't. I mean, if I was 3 sheets to the wind right now, this channel would be done.
And future notice, it doesn't matter if your video is private, unlisted, or public, because when I got my second strike on October 8th, they took out 2 videos, one of which gave me the strike, one of which was private. And that was the first interview I did with Russell J. Gould. And that same video is on Stan Barabbas' channel right now.
Dude, Rice, you just mentioned something very, very interesting to something that Tom and I have held close to the chest for a long time. This idea that, and I would love to hear your explanation. Why would, I think I know the answer, but why would the powers that be want, people like Tom or me or you to be self-employed, to be just doing our own shit? To be
tax you harder?
No, hold on. I know the answer he's going to give, and I want to give the retort. So go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, I see a breakdown of just the whole nuclear family idea, and that kind of includes like your job where you have socialization, where you have friends, where you have tribalism, where you converse with people, have conversations.
Tribalism is a big thing.
So by having you work for yourself and let's say be an Uber driver, how many like people that you know, that you trust, that you can have open conversations with? It just starts to create this more of a divide. I think ultimately they want us to be not looking at each other as a human being. They want us to look at each other as objects.
Right.
So the more they can separate us and our relationship to one another. And I believe, you can look at going to school, not only is it providing education, but it's providing like tools for socialization and
indoctrination. No, school is horseshit.
I know, but I mean, if you take out the indoctrination, just the interaction with your peers.
No, I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all.
That gives you the ability to start conversing and gives you practice for like being a people. And so I think like personally, I just think like anything that they can do to divide people, separate people, and make people think more about themselves and less about humanity and more about putting people as objects of how they can use, whether it's sex or money or whatever.
Man, that government treats its objects like people, man.
Hey, right.
Yeah. Was that the answer you'd give?
That's the exact answer I thought you'd
be right back.
But the first time we had ever hung out, we had a whole conversation about Bitcoin Cash, and everything else. And what did I say? It was this
Bitcoin.
idea. It was this idea of fork you, right?
Yeah, but that only goes so far. But yeah,
But I think we've come to this point.
no, I mean,
Um,
I know what you're saying, but I mean,
no. Hold
okay,
on.
okay. And I do have to,
I'm
I
actually
have to go sometime soon.
no. So do I. But what I'm saying is this: I have heard on a multitude of podcasts people discussing this idea of a separation of what's going on now and just being out in the middle of nowhere or anything else like that. I had thought about that stuff for years where I was like, oh, I might have to, just bug out and just live off the land if I want to be something. Now all of a sudden we sit at this point, this precipice that we're at, and even on podcasts that are like millions strong, they're discussing like, well, maybe we can all get together and create this, this other economy and get out of that. So yeah, maybe that was a plan of 2030, right? Where UN Agenda 2030 would say that you can.
Well, no, not creating your economy. And dude, actually, we can, and we'll talk more about this privately and in videos. But um,
Mhm.
interconnecting PMAs
Yes,
to create a bigger
agreed,
PMA,
agreed.
and then you can do everything that we're talking about.
And then you could recreate the consent of the governed.
Right. Now, I mean, of course, I mean, that
Yeah.
doesn't completely protect you in every single capacity, but it gives you a lot of
So now
protection
we
in
get
different ways.
so you talked about protection right there, right? So now you talk about this thing. And I will tell you this, that within our own lives, if you have the monopoly on violence, you have the monopoly on freedom. That's what this country was founded on, was the monopoly on violence. And
Well, that's how it was founded, but that's not what it was technically founded on. It was supposed to be founded on
no,
the
no,
principles of freedom and liberty
no.
and natural law.
But they knew that the principles of freedom, liberty, and natural law were founded on the First and Second Amendment, the ability to speak and the ability to defend that speech. And I'll tell you this, that the only thing that we do as far as giving our government anything is we're just giving them consent. We're giving them the consent to be the monopoly on violence. That's
Right,
what they do.
but
That's what they do. They have the
it's
monopoly.
not your normal consent. It's not like we know what's going on and everybody's like, yeah, we're cool with it. It's
Well,
just it's one of those
no,
things that
not when it
people
was founded. Not when it was founded. When it
if
was
people
founded,
aren't
yes, we all
combating it,
said
if
this.
people aren't speaking out against it, then it's going to be presumed that you accept it. You know, like I was talking with Cal Washington. He's like, if you register to vote, then you put yourself under their jurisdictional control because you've accepted
Yeah,
the system for what it is.
I would agree with that statement wholeheartedly. Right there,
Mhm.
I would agree with that statement because you registered yourself as a certain type of citizen, right?
Well,
So,
but you're accepting the
yeah,
governance form that we have. That's why you're joining up and saying I'll
yeah,
participate in it. So
yeah.
it's a sly way of doing consent to the governed.
Well, no,
It's
it's
like it's like
no, it's manufactured consent is what
it's
that's
like
called. It's
Manufactured
manufactured
consent.
consent.
Yep.
it's like
It's
roofing the
manufactured
chick
consent.
and say, no, you told me I could do it before
Yeah,
I knocked you out.
dude, it's manufactured consent is all it is, and that's the deal. Is that for those of us who know, we can go and give our consent to something else. We can just not decide. I was having a conversation with Tom where I said, it's not that I want to ignore the system, but I can ignore their bullshit as long as I've made the right decisions. As long as I make the right decisions and I conduct myself in a certain way, I can ignore them and I don't have anything to do with them. And that's the way I've ran my life from, geez, I don't know, fucking 2006 till now. And I've just done that all the time. I've just worked along that line. Now all of a sudden it's like I can no longer ignore them. I have to stand and fight, right? And I think that's where our forefathers, created this thing that is the Bill of Rights. And in this Bill of Rights, it states, not only in the Bill of Rights, but also the Constitution, that we are able to overthrow any government we want and create a new one and do all of that stuff. We're sitting at a precipice right now where all of the like, there is no reason why somebody like Max Egan, who has nothing but a pure heart, has to just ignore the place he was born and get the fuck out of there and go live on a couch for the rest of his life. That's bullshit.
What I will say on that aspect, though, is Max lived in a garage.
I know where he lived.
And so sleeping on Berwick's couch is actually probably nicer than where he lived.
Well, sleeping on it doesn't matter though.
And I love Max, but I mean, dude, he put himself in interesting situations.
No, but listen to the last video, because he actually discusses the reason why he left and why he left. And
yeah, I'll check this out. I didn't know. I had to. I definitely watch it.
Dude, you got to listen to it, because he's actually doing
get him on the show again.
Well, at least, yeah, you should, because actually he was discussing how he's worried about being there, and his landlord that he rented from, would end up being part of whatever was going to happen. And he had already gotten quite a few emails and
from the police, and they were shutting down his bank accounts.
Yeah, they shut his bank accounts down.
Because he was having some issues. He was going out to some events where he was in front of like court buildings and stuff, and he was just being Max Egan. So
well,
I mean,
and basically being
I love Max. But Max should be a great example of what, because Max is old, and Max could have like really just like in a sense done what, and I hate to say it like this, but Ron Lee Stewart from Justinian Deception, where he just reduced his content. I think he's put out 2 videos in this past year because he's terrified.
Yeah.
But the problem is
I get that he's terrified, but throw some fucking balls and do something and stand up for something.
He's driven from the truth.
You may be true for what you're standing up for, but that's what if you decide to do that, then you know what you're getting yourself into. I know what I'm putting myself into.
Same.
Well, but this is the thing. Max Egan did this so he could still put out content, so he could still exist, so he could still be.
And what I'll tell you about
feel the need to do that because it's their civil duty.
Yeah, but let me tell you something about Max. Let me tell you something about Max. Max was telling me, because I was like, Max, man, I feel really appreciative of the fact that I can just hit you up and you'll come on my show and you'll just talk to me and you'll be open. He considers me a friend. When you kind of see that, and then what Max told me was, he told me he was on the verge of starting to slow down and stop making content. So he was like not just going on everybody's channels and shows. Now, I think that's changed a little bit over the past couple months because of some other situations. But for him, he was wanting to kind of like start to fade out. And he's old. He's done this shit for a long time. He's what I would call, and I've said it before, like a grandfather to this whole fucking red pill movement.
Well,
in a parallel way.
But he also understands what's coming to him in Australia.
And he's a spiritual person.
He knew
he cares about humanity.
So he meditated about it for what, 2 weeks?
So as much as he wants to probably stop this shit, he's being forced into doing this, which I mean, unfortunately, sucks for him. But I commend him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I commend people don't standing up and speaking out against this.
When you're doing something, because I can't even compare myself to Max Egan. That's Max Egan has had so many years experience above me that
14 years.
Called wisdom.
I just can't even try. So
where are we at? That's the most important thing. Like, where are we at? Like, to see that.
Right place.
Huh?
In the right place. We're exactly where we need to be physically, mentally, and everything. So just know that, and know there's a reason. And there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why that everything is going on the way it is. There's
But
a reason why
I think
you want to do one thing, and Max may want to retire and slow down, but now he's fucking an
He was
outlaw.
on the lam, for Christ's sake, man.
Yeah. So I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but I definitely
what's
know.
your plan?
I definitely know that I'm not going to be seeing you guys in camps. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
totally.
if they tried to take me to something like that, they're not going to take me alive.
Look at
And
what they're doing in Australia right now. They're
QAnon.
excited. I mean, I don't know, that one little pig fucker up there talking about the quarantine camps that they got going on out there. He was smiling.
Who?
I can't remember which Aussie poop shoot it was, but
Okay.
it was one of the
Dude, I mean, there's a lot, dude, there are so many people who are against people like me and you.
No, but he was. What really blew me away is
We should be killed because we don't have a vacation. We should be killed because we chose not to take a vacation like other people did, and those people think that we should be lined up and shot. Like we're causing a problem. They're actually
on it.
Speaking about those ships, I guarantee you on the mainstream news, there's going to be something coming out in the next couple days, week or so, 2 weeks, that it's going to be because of people not being vacationed.
Mm-hmm.
That more people need to take vacations, or we can't deliver these goods. Like you need a vacation. You need to make sure you're well rested and get that vacation and follow our banana protocol.
I just want to say it just blows me away to watch these people talk about it. And this reminds me, of the 30s in Germany. I mean, it's like they are excited about it. They are happy about it.
It's the power of psychology and propaganda, brother, and they're really good at it.
Man, and they love it. It's like they're drunk off of power, man. Something I just don't get myself.
Who's the guy that wrote the book that we use for all this shit? It's Sigmund Freud's nephew or something.
I don't know.
Sigmund Freud's nephew wrote something that has to do with Eric. What did Eric do?
Oh, he's probably out taking a leak or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. I was telling Eric though a little bit ago, I got to get ready when he comes back. I got to get ready to bounce because I have to literally upload these 2 videos and edit 2 videos because I have a full day tomorrow. Fridays are busy for me because at 12:30 noon I run a live stream for pre-search.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, I'm on BitBoy Crypto. And then 7 o'clock p.m. I'm on my channel for a live stream. And then I have a paid sponsored interview on Saturday for a game. And then after that, I'm planning on taking 5 grams of shrooms.
Sweet. I gotta
Okay.
shrooms again.
Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays.
I was thinking Bernays, so that's Sigmund Freud's nephew, right?
Nephew. Yeah.
And what was the book?
Well, so there's a couple of different books. One of which that he wrote, but there's a bunch of books written.
So the stuff they use in like psychology of advertisements, propaganda, all this shit.
Right. So he's the guy that created.
It's almost like how to win friends by trapping them in a snare.
Yeah.
No, you might as well like.
Isn't that a book?
People?
How to win friends and influence
How to win
people?
friends? Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
not.
I just
It's not
changed the
Edward
title
Bernays.
with the I had to add the snare into it because you're tricking people.
No. So Edward Bernays.
Super fucking smart psychologist.
Well,
human being.
No. So he's the guy that created the idea of taking propaganda and turning it into public relations, right? So taking propaganda and turning it into PR. And he's also the guy that is the reason why
early 1900s. So it's before
he's the reason why you have to give your
Germany.
girl. No, he's the reason why you have to give your girlfriend a diamond ring. The first person that ever hired him was De Beers, and then go look into De Beers and everything else.
Right. So I mean, that should show you how much of a genius that dude is. That dude was like,
not lying.
Taking the idea of a snake oil salesman and legitimizing it, and making it seem.
As a matter of fact,
that would be the kind of dude that would sell the Eiffel Tower or the Brooklyn Bridge to somebody.
So if you watch if you read The Great Gatsby, where this guy would just create parties and then not show up to them, and then everybody would talk about him because he wasn't there. That's the guy. So The Great Gatsby is written about Edward Bernays, all
Okay.
of that shit. Movies have been written. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio is in a movie called Gatsby. Um, so the idea of this dude is the reason why we're here, actually, and
Yeah, the media, the reason why media, branding,
well,
everything, everything that deals with
let's talk.
psychology of
So
that aspect.
let's talk about it on a philosophical level real quick before we go. He created the scarcity model. He legitimately created the scarcity model. And the funny thing is we should all be living in abundance. It's only when we actually believe, as all of us as humans, like these people that are trying to fuck us over and destroy us and put us into this just garbage ground where they're like, oh, we're the only ones that own all this technology and you'll never get it and you have to wait for med beds and you have to do all of this stuff and you can't do this but you can do that, and the Federal Reserve and silver and all of this stuff. No. If you just sit there and understand that there's no such thing as scarcity, and there's more than enough on this planet for all of us, no matter how many people that are there.
Right, but it's undoing a lot, dude.
Well, yeah,
It's
I know it's undoing a
because-
lot. It's undoing a lot, but undoing a lot doesn't mean a whole lot when all of a sudden every night, every single one of us just go to bed thankful for what we have, right?
Or
I'm not
wake,
saying-
wake up with the attitude for gratitude. Same thing.
Mhm.
wake up
Yeah.
with the attitude for gratitude. Like, don't get involved with
And on a
that
macro level of
bullshit.
that idea is look at oil,
Yeah.
for example. Look at oil.
Right.
They try
Stop
to
using
convince
it.
everybody. Well, it's old dinosaur bones. We ain't got enough of it. It's gonna run out.
Yeah, but that's why the
It's-
price. That's why the price of
No.
petro just keeps
That's why
going
we
up.
still having the price of petrol. It's like no, there is no
No,
scarcity.
you know what? When
Once again-
petro
Once again, indoctrination. These people,
indoctrination,
you know,
social
That's what I'm
engineering.
saying. So it's a
everything.
matter
You know
of
what?
with the
so-
kids,
so
man.
all
and
we have
that's
to
what
do-
they're doing.
All
Get
we
It's
have
a
with
to
matter
do-
of people undoing and unlearning what they know. And sometimes, man, like that can be, especially when, because I mean, like, we're talking to each other and we're comfortable with this. But when you talk to somebody who's not even like
Oh
in
my
this,
God,
this
dude! No,
frame of
they
thinking,
won't have any of
this I know this, but it's the biggest.
abundance.
It's the biggest. It's the biggest. It's one of the biggest hurdles to cross because
It's hard.
the thing is when you have to unlearn what you've been taught, you have to realize that a lot of what you've been taught is wrong, and then the
Mhm.
cognitive dissonance that comes into play at even a harder core level than a lot of the things that we talked about in the past, because you're talking about like cognitive dissonance that affects almost like a strong percentage of every part of your life.
Well, so
And
here's the
it's-
deal.
And it's easier to be cipher from Matrix
Mhm.
and just go back in and just say just make sure the taste
Because
the
it's
steak
very
tastes good.
uncomfortable to be over here. It's very uncomfortable to have these viewpoints and thoughts and see the truth for what it is. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't make me feel good about my future. It doesn't make me feel good about anything. The only thing that makes me feel good about this situation is that it's getting so insane and so intense that there has to be some sort of precipice that actually hits. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, this is the perfect storm. You know,
No,
whether we're looking
my
at the
spine.
economy, the dollar, like, you know, what we want to bring in crypto, we want to talk about crazy shit the government's doing, not just
No.
Oh,
here,
this
all
is
over the
beyond. I
world.
mean, this is beyond the perfect
This is-
storm, because
this
the
is
perfect storm was like
ultimate.
that was two storms clashing in the movie. I mean, this what we have is like 10, 15, 20 storms clashing. It's beyond even anything. That's why it's so, I think it's so overwhelming to
And
like
when people realize that
people.
the power lies in themselves and in togetherness and in numbers, oh my God, forget about it. It's like
Well, that
something
I
I
mean,
always
that's
said.
why I say
Like,
it. That's why
one thing I always said: if you want to really crash the economy, 30% of America, the workforce, don't go to work, don't pay your taxes, don't go buy anything, don't do anything for a week. See
Shut
what
it down.
happens. See what
Dude,
happens.
And here's the other thing is love your neighbor, right?
Yeah,
Like,
even if you don't agree with them, just be
but-
cool.
and that
Just
means
be cool.
unconditionally too. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean you have to like and you have to agree.
Mm-mm.
but you can
But
still
you
be
have to
accepting
respect
and
him as a
loving.
fellow
Right.
person.
You can be accepting and loving.
And this is something I got to bring up because I'm a bad person about this. You know, I was like my dog, you know, like barking at fat people and homeless people. Like, you know, for some reason, I don't give them credit as human beings, and I need to start. It's like that homeless guy. He's still a human being. Doesn't matter if he's lazy or drunk or has mental problems. He's still a human being. So give him the compassion you would to any other human beings. And my issue too, fat people. Oh man, look at that lazy fat piece of shit. No, you know what? You don't know why they're in that situation. They could have a fucking thyroid condition, you know. And this is me. This is me being just honest right now.
But when
Treat
it really comes down to
the
it,
way
dude,
you want to be treated, no matter what they look like, no matter their social status, no matter anything. And you
but
have
that's
to
something,
get to
dude.
that
That's
point.
something that you have to practice daily, and then be very, very mindful. Because when you practice it, and that's what the whole practice change stuff's about. So, like, when you start going through this whole process, and you're like, "Oh, I was really shitty to that person," you got to realize that every single interaction has an impact.
Or not even shitty.
Every
Like I
interaction.
looked at that
So
person
it's
and
what kind of impact do you want to leave with somebody? Like,
I
and
didn't have
and
the
truly
compassion
treat.
that I would with somebody I know. With some, you know,
But the more you talk about this, and the more you interact it in your life, the more you'll become mindful of this and be able to practice being able to be non-judgmental. And really, when you're looking at somebody, kind of put it in his position, because I'm guilty of it too.
Mhm.
So I'm saying this even to myself. When you're looking in a mirror and you see yourself, try to replicate that experience when you're with somebody else, so that you can mentally put yourself in their position, so that you are literally talking to yourself.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
you know,
Because
talking
I
to
mean,
a
some
friend,
people
talking
look
to
at
a
us as
family
being, us as a whole makes up God. Like, every living thing as a whole makes up the wholeness of what God is. So that's why Jesus'
Yes.
2 commandments were love God with all your heart and love your brother and your sister as you love yourself, which falls under the golden rule, which is natural law, the non-aggression principle, do no harm.
Yes.
but
3
take no
words.
shit.
My
6
man.
words.
My man.
6 words. Do no harm,
man.
take no shit.
Take
That's
no
a
shit.
shirt. That's a shirt. Do no harm, take no shit.
I
Do
can't
no
take credit for that.
harm,
That was Cliff
take
High.
no
That's
shit.
Amrev.
Man, Cliff needs to get high.
Oh,
Cliff is always high.
Cliff is he smokes the ganj, man. Cliff is rocking the ganj.
I really don't think he does, but I would love to smoke with him.
Oh, you know,
I'll tell you this.
He's too big of an advocate for it.
Oh.
I'm
And
sure.
P.S. My video is still up on YouTube. I'm like, what the fuck,
No,
man?
he's a smoker. Here's
My
the deal.
Cliff High interview with you is still on YouTube, and they're going to take down private and unlisted videos. But yet Cliff High is still up there. That clearly goes against pretty much everything that YouTube says that goes against their terms and conditions.
Look at the CCP over there. They're calling Cliff High a threat. So if you like even quote Cliff High, they're pulling you off social media.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to that old buzzard.
Oh man, dude, I've been listening to Cliff
my
back
boy.
since 2004.
Dude, it's surreal. Dude, I mean, I would tell you, of all the interviews I've done, like, aside from McAfee, like, Cliff High was one of my favorite.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
and that was a conversation. Same thing with McAfee. I don't even try to control the conversation. I try to help steer it if I need to, but the wisdom is just so
this is one of the
abundant.
things. Like, I really wanted to talk to Cliff High for the longest time, and I really wanted to get him on, you know, consent, obviously, and just talk to him about it. But the problem is I don't need to. He puts out enough content. The thing is, I'm not looking for him to have a conversation, even though I would love to have a conversation with the guy because he's very cool. And I've been listening to him for a long time.
He's cool as hell, man.
And he's very righteous, man. The thing is that right now, everybody needs to hear what he has to say. And so him putting out these informative videos is much, much more
important,
relevant and important.
Oh yeah, dude. That's
him
why
having a conversation with me, asking questions like I'd be like Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live. Like you remember when you're in the Beatles?
so my conversation with him, dude, is literally just a summary of some of his videos that he did, which people can find value in that.
Well,
so
dude, I was listening to him back before he was on YouTube, back with just Half Past Human. My dad turned me on to him back in 2004. He found him on Time Bomb 2000. I was like, holy shit, listen to this Cliff High cat, man. And I was
No,
like,
he's a smart dude, man. And even just being able to like help people out by interconnecting some of his videos, because not every video gets interconnected.
I have one
So
question for him,
having
though.
these kind of like summary videos that kind of interconnect a couple of videos kind of gets to put a little bit more of the picture in place for people that are having a hard time putting the puzzle pieces together with the information provided before. Because sometimes, I mean, Cliff can be kind of cryptic.
Oh yeah, but you also have to understand his linguistics.
So if you
too,
have
his
somebody who
language.
can communicate with him, you can sort of slightly try to decipher some of that.
I am gonna ask him the question though. I think I'll shoot him an email here and just how in the hell did he quit smoking being an IT dude? That's my biggest question for Cliff right now. Everything else he says, it makes sense, but it's like, how in the hell did you do that under stress, man? Is that being an IT? I mean, he was more.
Was that before the cancer?
He quit smoking a while back, and
Because the cancer, and I know his wife's health is like very much deteriorating. So I mean, when you kind of have death surrounding you and you're old, he was younger when he did it. Like at least that's my impression. Okay.
Because he was talking about how he ran around and he was very excited about how he quit smoking and nobody cared. And like I really care because I'm in IT, and it's. I'm not.
Dude,
really
I'm not IT. I think I've smoked six or seven cigarettes.
Well, this is the problem here too.
I've chain smoked this entire conversation.
It is hard not to just be like, this is fucked up, man. What the fuck are we gonna do? I mean, that's what I feel like. I feel like I spent some time in front of a computer screen fixing computers, looking at the news, and all of a sudden I'm so stressed out. I gotta have 2 cigarettes.
Yeah, no, I feel you, dude. I actually get to the point when I go and take a smoke break. I usually smoke 2 cigarettes. It's getting pretty bad. I was telling Tom, and telling you, I got to get ready to wrap this up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be working till about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this morning, and
no, it's good.
I'm trying to work. I'm working ahead, and then with everything going on tomorrow, I've got and I told you I have no problem sharing this, but I was telling Tom, since I didn't get to do what I wanted to do with my magical mushrooms Saturday, I want to try to repeat the experience with a little bit more extra weight. And I talked to my boy, and I was told that if this time doesn't go as planned, that I will be given a replacement.
Dude, if you eat 4 grams and you ain't fucking out of your mind, that's garbage. Anyway.
No, man.
I'll show you the pictures of these things. These things were huge. Like I after talking to Eric, I even asked my friend just yesterday. I said, "How fucking big were these fucking things?" Because one stem, just a stem, not a cap. I'm talking like I had 3 stems, and 2 of the stems weighed over 5 each.
Dude, if you eat an 1/8.
And it's like gray. Since it's stems, they look like elephant legs. They don't have blue streaks, but there's blue spots.
No. If you're gonna eat
it's called penis envy. Have you heard of penis envy before?
No, dude, I don't buy those name brand mushrooms. No, we just get them out here, dude, and they're really good. We get, I buy an ounce for what?
Well, my last batch, I told him was good. It was fine. So I even had to talk to my friend Amir Rosic, who started a business with Vitalik's dad, because he's big in psychedelics, and he told me to go ahead and get some to try this. Get some fresh lemons, and squeeze them and make a lemon juice and soak them in that. What are you godding about? Me talking about mushrooms?
No, dude. I mean, I ate more mushrooms.
Yeah, but dude, here's the thing. I have naturally, I don't know what it is, but I have a high tolerance for everything.
Dude, you have a high tolerance. Yeah, that's great, dude.
So I don't know what the situation was.
You could be like my wife, who has a high tolerance for that. Personally, me, man, I've eaten a ton of mushrooms. I see it like a quarter at a time. I've eaten some mad amounts of mushrooms. You know,
Have you bought
when I
anything
was
from a
younger.
store yet?
No, we don't have them in stores. I did buy, or I was going to buy some in Amsterdam, but I decided because I was so
I thought they were
disoriented that I probably
legalized
shouldn't
in.
buy them in Amsterdam.
Well, I
They're
know the
not legalized.
Colorado.
They're legalized for medical research. You can't go buy them in a store yet. But either
Okay,
or,
well, illegally you can have in New Jersey, because now that herb is recreational, now you have delivery services that are delivering even chocolate bars with those.
well, see, that's what I've noticed too. A lot
In
of people
Jersey.
with a lot of chocolate bars. But either or, I've noticed that the older I've gotten and the more spiritual I've gotten, the more that I've just kind of become connected to everything, the less amount of mushrooms I have to eat to actually push me over to the other side. Granted, I don't always want to go there. Sometimes I just want to have a little fun and a few drinks. But if I really want to get to that other side, I only have to eat like an eighth now. And I'm just like,
have you ever had an occurrence where maybe somebody told you that might be on this conversation, maybe you shouldn't do it this weekend, and then the universe is agreeing with said person, and regardless of how many you eat, the universe isn't going to let you experience that.
That could very well be it, man, because this is, dude,
because I mean, yeah, like
natural psychedelics and spiritualism go hand in hand like bullets and fucking guns, man.
Which is usually why I do this, is a reconnection or a simple a quick charge.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's why I try to do this monthly, and it just happens to be on lunar cycles.
Now's not the time, homie.
Well, we're past the full moon in Aries.
No, I say eat it, man.
Saturday. Saturday, I'm going to do half of the weight I have. I told my boy I'm going to turn 4 and what should have been 4 doses into 3.
Yeah,
you know what?
But so I want to do half.
I should go over there and ask him for some this weekend.
What are you guys doing?
Oh, my neighbor's got some mushrooms. I should ask him.
Well, I don't mind coming to Colorado around Christmas.
Hey, man, you need a place to crash. You would get spare.
Or even if you want to come to like Asheville, maybe we're gonna make a party out of it.
I'd love to come to Asheville, man. I just want to see where things at, dude. I'm not even going back for deer hunting season this year. I don't even know what the fuck's going on. I'm just hanging tight, dude. I'm hanging tight till after the Evergrande shit. And I'm going to see where things are going.
Evergrande, dude. Evergrande went into Fantasia, and now there's another one. So, but I mean, yeah. I still don't. Ultimately, here's what we really got to stop, or I got to end. But ultimately, what I think is going to happen is China is just going to, because China is a communist government. Communism and fascism go hand in hand. So ultimately, China is just going to take over those corporations. It's not going to be it's not going to be a thing.
Ain't no thing but a chicken wing.
China's not going to let it affect it, and none of the U.S. companies are going to let it affect it. Now, okay, so since Evergrande, and since we've had more people filing for unemployment, whether they're quitting or getting fired or losing their jobs or whatever, we have still seen Bitcoin hit all-time highs, and in the same turn, we've seen the stock market still hit all-time highs. So recently, with the stock market with the all-time highs, you might see like highs in like 2 parts of the stock market, and then maybe 2 or 3% dip in the Nasdaq. Okay, but the S&P 500, everything else is all good. So I mean, that is the melt up. That's what I try to explain to people. Like when people think that their house that was in 2019 might have been valued at $200,000, and now because of inflation and what's been going on in the supply market, your house has somehow gained value. And a lot of these people who are quitting jobs too think that they are richer than they were before 2019, but they don't realize that the money that they have is purchasing less and less and less and less. So it would be like fucking being ultimately like a Zimbabwe billionaire, which means that you might be lucky to buy a pack of cigarettes at a convenience store.
Apparently, we are now talking to a middle finger. Sully has disappeared.
I thought that was his little pee-pee sticking out.
No, you might as well have been a dick. But no.
That's what I said. Your little tiny pee-pee.
Little pee-pee.
Your
pee-pee. Well, all right, guys. I love you, man.
I got to get the heck out of here.
Let's hope this video stays on. But regardless, You can record. I mean, it's recorded on StreamYard, and you can always upload it in other fashions. I can clip out parts. You can send me the video, and I can add stuff to my channel.
Nope, they actually told us that it's not going to be recorded on StreamYards.
Is it because you have a free account?
Yeah.
Well, $25 a month. I mean, now if Zoom was like StreamYard, I would give you my login and like connect accounts, let you guys use my account, but it screws everything up. It's not user friendly in that aspect.
No,
that's all right.
Speaking of that, Eric can send me his username and password for Rockfin. So I don't have to spend money to watch one video.
Oh, nose on Stellar.
All right, there.
On Stellar.
Hey, Chris, it's always good to see you, man. Good to talk.
Yeah, I love you, dude.
Yeah,
let's do this again soon.
Man. Oh, hell yeah, anytime.
I'm gonna bounce out and let you guys end this thing. Eric, hit me up I'll be free after 1 if you have a late lunch. Love you guys.
You know what? I'll be
Take care, brother.
And Tom, I hope you get your sight back, man.
Oh man, yeah. I can't see anything. Is that Billy Mack? Is that Bill? I think
are people watching or are people in chat?
Yeah, it's our buddy Bill. Bill, you gotta come over here, man, and toke a bowl.
Much love, Bill.
Yeah.
And much love. Oh, Shannon LeGros in the house.
Too, Bill.
It's good seeing Shannon. She's one of the people who watches Rice TVX.
Bam.
I'm glad that we got some supporters of
and swing over
the card.
Always going.
All right, fellas.
All right. Take it easy, brother.
It's been real.
It's been real.
Kind of.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Maybe.
Oh shit, man. No, it was good talking to you tonight, man. Pups up, and I think my buddy's over here. He's got to grab something. But dude,
let's go.
Great talking to you, brother. Dude, I'll talk to you again soon, man.
Word.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Broadcast.
All right, cool.
Word.
All right, later.